Hello everyone, welcome to another Music Talk Tuesday, and today I thought it would be interesting to briefly dive into a award ceremony, in particular one that has had a significant influence over the years, um, and I think is pretty much in sort of the stage of the decline as far as quality and as far as I think even engagement. And As you can see by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be discussing the MTV VMAs, Video Music Awards. This is really MTV's big thing that they do every year, I believe it is, where they honor the best within music. And I think it's important to emphasize this particular award ceremony because MTV was really the start of the video music kind of craze and really making that a medium for people in which to enjoy music. And it has only increased in its power and influence ever since the rise of the internet. Not necessarily that it made MTV's network all too popular with music videos, but largely music videos became popular through other mediums, and then MTV kind of used that as a means to ultimately use that to their advantage to showcase their sort of awards. Even though they did showcase awards before the whole internet craze kind of started, but regardless, when you really look though at the real parts that sort of make up the VMAs today, a lot of it is very shallow. A lot of it is very lacking as far as like creativity or really originality. And a lot of it is just, I think, based on attention seeking. And I think a lot of it is through self-gratification rather than having really genuine passion for the art. And I'm not just talking about this VMAs that just happened recently, I'm talking about all of the VMAs. So this isn't necessarily the one that I think really put the whole show, so to speak, or, award ceremony really in the coffin. I think it's been a regression over years and years and years of just horrible content. And it's almost to the point where I feel like we're not even supposed to take the VMAs seriously. It's almost to the point where I think largely MTV is almost insulting its audience and saying that teenagers are stupid and they'll just like whatever is popular. And the thing is you have all of these artists that ultimately are nominated and or at least end up getting awards, and you really think to yourself, do these people really, do they really deserve to be recognized? I literally sat through Kanye's speech. I didn't watch the whole ceremony, obviously, but when I listened to his speech, it felt like I was watching an incoherent ramblings of just a random person, and then the whole announcement of him wanting to become president. What the heck? And I think largely in part the stupidity of these kinds of awards, I think, largely comes with the speeches. Unlike other award ceremonies like the Oscars or such, even sometimes their speeches can be a little bit long-winded and stupid, but at least they have a certain sense of at least dignity for the most part. But when it comes to the VMAs, you can pretty much say whatever you want, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like anything really genuine. It just feels like you're just rambling. and you're not really saying anything inspiring or really uplifting, for the most part. I mean, and I think it's largely due to the fact that this award ceremony is really not taken with all as much depth and seriousness as a lot of other award ceremonies. Um, and also, when you look at the performances as well, that because they do have various routines of the various popular artists that come up and do some kind of performance, you really do feel like a lot of it is very flashy. When I saw pictures of, you know, Miley Cyrus or Taylor Swift or Nicki Minaj, it just felt like this overindulgence of, it just felt like going to a strip show in Vegas. I'm not kidding you. It didn't feel like an actual awards ceremony, with any real kind of choreography or any real kind of sense of depth. And, again, it's all about show. It's all about what they're wearing, because they'll wear these very kind of provocative, odd, and bizarre looking outfits and say that it's art, and, ooh, look at how provocative I am. Look at how, just it's all based on attention seeking. It's not designed to giving the audience entertainment. It's really just self indulgence. And it just bothers me to no end how so full of themselves sometimes these people can be. And it just really shows. And the fact that they even put in their speeches some kind of feud that's going on between them and some other star, I mean, it's just so petty and stupid. And I really don't understand why we are downgrading the level of thought and effort put into our entertainment for teenagers. I really don't understand it. And there were people like literally cheering during Kanye's speech that made absolutely no sense. Like, listen to that speech. It was like a bunch of random strings of thoughts tied together. And oh, by the way, I'm running for president in 2020. I'm just thinking to myself, really? Really? That's your speech? Come on. What is it with these people? I don't understand. And I think a lot of it is really just designed to just kind of be a joke. And even the artists admit, oh yeah, I was a little blah blah during my performance, and I took this before my performance, and I'm a little bit, partied out. I mean, you can literally tell by the way that they perform and by what they talk about. They clearly are just, they're just there to. They're not there to do actual effort and put in actual work. They're just there to have fun, and that's what they think the whole entertainment industry is designed to be. It's designed to be fun for them. For the sake of making their audience even more stupid. And although I think the only legitimate point that I could even say for Kanye's speech was when he was talking about, how we should teach our kids to be nice and to one another and blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, that had some maybe legitimacy there. But beyond that, I mean, everything was so incoherent. Nicki Minaj's speech, horrible. I mean, just like really, I mean, I almost even wonder why they even have speeches for these kinds of awards. But again, like I've said before, this kind of behavior, this kind of craziness has already existed from years and years before. I don't know how many years it was ago, but when Kanye stood up and, interrupted Taylor Swift or something, I mean, it's just stupidity. These people are just not the most brightest of and most talented of people, and they think they are, and they have to shove it in everybody's face, and it just bothers me to no end. And I think that's my main problem with the MTV VMAs, is although I think in the earlier years, at least the years into which I wasn't really exposed to MTV because I was actually a kid during the 90s, so I was watching Disney, not MTV. Um, I could see that there might have been some maybe well done shows, but I think really the downfall came in around the later 2000s, when we saw, this very genuine lack of quality as far as entertainment and as far as the mainstream music. Now, I'm not saying that all mainstream music is bad. There's obviously perfectly good exceptions to the rule. We've seen that happen, I think, time and time again. But when you look at the vast majority, a lot of it feels very schlock, and a lot of it is really based within trying to seek attention. And how can I be more provocative than I already am? How can I, do something so crazy that it'll get people to think that I have artistry, like that I really did think it over really well and do it for the sake of giving attention. And I think that's a huge problem that I think exists with a lot of, in particular, musicians today. Is I think a lot of it is designed to be self-serving and not really about trying to genuinely entertain people or genuinely try to make people think. It's all based within, kind of marketing your brand, and not doing it in a clever way, just doing it in a very, just generic bubblegum, almost, if you look at women, mostly provocative way. It's not about trying to bring genuine art anymore, unfortunately. I think for the most part, and I think the MTV VMAs really do showcase this. And I mean, I have a problem with that because I mean, teenagers are impressionable, and I think we should be encouraging people to, think for themselves. And I think a lot of the mainstream artistry is about more so not really positive rebellion or trying to seek self-improvement. It's all based on ego. And that's really, I think, the huge problem that arises with a lot of these celebrities, at least nowadays. I think a lot of them are very self-absorbed, and they really do show it through their music. And I think it really defeats the purpose of what an award ceremony should be, because an award ceremony should be about recognizing their efforts as far as being entertainers to their audience, rather than being, these overly egotistical, totally self-absorbed celebrities, because that's really majority of what musicians are, at least nowadays. They're treated as more of celebrities. They're more recognized within the tabloids and all of that. So it's clear that, it's a lot about it's more, or at least nowadays, it's more about, just manufactured art and not something that's of genuine heart anymore, unfortunately. But that's mainstream. I'm not saying that's every single artist that exists of today, so don't mistake that. And I think although there are obviously those that still exist within and participate in the MTV VMAs that do have some genuine talent, it's just that when you look at the vast majority, when you're generally looking at an artist today and why they're ultimately successful, it's really largely based on ego and branding, and not about really trying to give something back to the people that they are giving to supposedly as entertainment. And yeah, I just think a lot of it's very just it's just so bad. I mean, it's just not enjoyable. I mean, already looking just at the pictures, I'm already going, why would I even bother to succumb to myself watching this? What is the point of seeing these obnoxious people acting like complete idiots? Why do I want to succumb myself to it? And I can't. I honestly can't. And I've grown completely detached from even trying to watch them. And I think, again, a lot of it, I think, has to do with the lack of people taking music, especially music generated towards teenagers, I think, a little bit more seriously. And I think that largely was in decline within the later 2000s and further forward within time up to now. But I mean, it's really all, I think, dependent on how you view it. But that's really honestly my honest opinion is I think the MTV VMAs have gotten way too commercialized, way too cookie cutter, and are just kind of just, again, it's just all based within just manufacturing these same kinds of generic, overly provocative women that we've seen time and time again. You know, about, these other artists who have big and also who have, again, you could classify these, you can classify the overly provocative women and the egotistical in the same category, but that's what I mean. That's really genuinely the kind of music we're, at least I think, being exposed to largely, is this over consumption oriented content that's not really bringing anything genuine or with heart to the table. And it's not really about putting on a good show. It's just about how can I be more stupid? How can I, how can I be more provocative? How can I provoke the audience by what I say and by what I do, and not about what I genuinely produce, which is supposed to be, in this case, music. Yeah, I think this award ceremony in particular really highlights the sort of downfall we're seeing, I think, as far as quality is concerned when it comes to music. Again, obviously there's a lot of exceptions to this rule, and I'm not saying that all music today is horrible. No, absolutely not. What I am saying is that a lot, almost the majority of the mainstream, what people throw out there as popular, what people, the ultimate brands that get recognition, aka musicians that get recognition, are ones that I don't think are worthy of the title, and also ones that I think are not bringing anything new to the table and don't really resemble a good kind of role model or someone to, not to aspire to be, but to, maybe look up to and identify with and say, yeah, I totally understand where that person's coming from, or yeah, I totally feel the emotions coming through with this one song or something. Like, none of it is about that now. It's just one big messy party. That's all that this award ceremony has become, unfortunately. It's not about music, it's about partying and acting stupid and not producing anything and not contributing anything. So yeah, that's I think ultimately all I can say when it comes to this particular award ceremony, and I just thought I would bring it up because it was everywhere on social media, and I looked more into it and studied it, and I kind of realized that a lot of it is really just designed to, again, be more about this self-promotion and this egotistical party, and not about genuinely making something worthwhile or worth something fun. Like it's just one of those. There was this one artist who wanted to really genuinely write a song about stopping the party because there's too much songs about partying. And I think I agree with him definitely on this. I think there needs to be a song that says stop the party. Stop the stupidity and get back to work and actually make something worth value. But yeah, that's really ultimately though all I can say about this. It's just one big mess. Like, that's really all it is. It's just this one big mess, and you have no idea what's really going on and what anything means, and then they're like, yeah, it's art. Yeah, I just put a bunch of random stuff together and I called it art. And I think that's the greatest gift as well as curse about art is that, art is anything that you can interpret to be, and obviously you can't really definitively say that this art is bad and this art is good. But I think it, just for my taste, this is just a little too overdone, and I think there are definitely better ways to approach these kinds of ceremonies. But for some reason we have to be more provocative and more crazy and more out of control. Otherwise, we're not hip anymore or whatever. But again, that's just my honest opinion. I'd be more than happy to hear what anybody else has to say about these awards. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care.